Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Nishit Kumar with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to participate in Quad Leaders Summit in Tokyo on the 24th of this month, to also engage in bilateral meetings with Quad leaders. India is the new hope of the world amidst global turmoil, says Prime Minister at Yuva Shivir, organized by Sri Swaminarayan Temple in Vadodara. Union Home Minister Amit Shah addresses international seminar organized by Delhi University, says universities should not become battlegrounds for ideological conflicts. Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia says India turned crisis into an opportunity to augment tuberculosis elimination activities by launching new initiatives. Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur stresses on India's ability to become a content hub of the world and preferred destination for post-production hub of films. Supreme Court sentences former Punjab Congress President Navjot Singh Sidhu to 1 year rigorous imprisonment in 1988 road rage case. In Mathura District and Sessions Court allows plea by Sri Krishna Janmabhoomi Trust and other private parties to seek ownership of Shahi Eidgah Mosque land. Former Punjab Congress Chief Sunil Jakhar joins BJP. Incessant rain continues in Arunachal Pradesh, putting normal life out of gear across the state. In hockey, India's Sub-Junior Women's National Championship, Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, Jharkhand and Uttar Pradesh enter the semi-finals in Imphal. And in IPL cricket, Gujarat Titans were 80 for 3 in 11.3 overs against Royal Challengers Bangalore at Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai when reports last came in. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will participate in the Quad Leaders Summit in Tokyo on the 24th of this month at the invitation of Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. US President Joe Biden, Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison, along with the Japanese Prime Minister, will participate in the summit. Briefing media in New Delhi this evening, External Affairs Ministry spokesman Arindam Bagchi said the summit in Tokyo is the fourth interaction of Quad leaders since their first virtual meeting in March last year. He said the forthcoming Quad summit provides an opportunity to the leaders to exchange views about developments in the Indo-Pacific region and contemporary global issues of mutual interest. The leaders will review progress of Quad initiatives and working groups, identify new areas of cooperation and provide strategic guidance and vision for future collaborations. Prime Minister Modi will have a bilateral meeting with his Japanese counterpart. The meeting will provide an opportunity for the two leaders to carry forward their conversations from the 14th India-Japan Annual Summit, which was held in March this year in New Delhi. During the visit, Mr. Modi will participate in business events with Japanese business leaders. He will also address and interact with the Indian community in Japan. The Prime Minister will hold bilateral meeting with US President Joe Biden. The two leaders are expected to review the India-US strategic partnership and follow up on discussions held during the Prime Minister's bilateral meeting with the US President last September. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed Yuva Shivir at Kareli Bagh at Vadodara in Gujarat through video conferencing today. Sri Swaminarayan Temple of Kundal and Sri Swaminarayan Temple at Kareli Bagh in Vadodara organized the Shivir. Speaking on the occasion, the Prime Minister said India is the new hope of the world today amidst the global turmoil. Mr. Modi said today we are taking a collective resolve for making efforts to build a new India. He said the world is looking towards India with a new hope for peace in the midst of global unrest and conflicts. He said New India has a new identity and is forward-looking with ancient traditions. Mr. Modi said constant character building in every generation is the basis of every society. He said such a new India should give direction to entire mankind.
हमारे लिए संस्कार का अर्थ है शिक्षा, सेवा और संवेदनशीलता। हमारे लिए संस्कार का अर्थ है समर्पण, संकल्प और सामर्थ्य। हम अपना उत्थान करें, लेकिन हमारा उत्थान दूसरों के कल्याण का भी माध्यम बने। हम सफलता के शिखरों को छुएं, लेकिन हमारी सफलता सबकी सेवा का भी जरिया बने.
Mr. Modi said we are showing the path of yoga and the power of Ayurveda to entire humanity. He said we are emerging as a nation looking forward to a new future from software to space.
हम पूरी मानवता को योग का रास्ता दिखा रहे हैं, आयुर्वेद की ताकत से परिचित करवा रहे हैं. हम सॉफ्टवेयर से लेकर स्पेस तक एक नए भविष्य के लिए तत्पर देश के रूप में उभर रहे हैं.
Mr. Modi said from delivering vaccines and medicines to the world in the midst of the corona crisis, we have created hope of a self-reliant India amidst scattered supply chains. Praising the Swaminarayan temples and their saints for organizing this Sanskar Abhyudaya Shivir, Prime Minister Modi said it will bring the Abhyudaya of our culture and our nation. He said the aim and impact of this Shivir will glow in the presence of the saints. He said this Shivir is being organized at a time when the nation is celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Union Home Minister Amit Shah has said that universities should become the platform for exchange of views and not a space for ideological battles. He said this while addressing an international seminar on revisiting the ideas of India from Swaraj to New India organized by the Delhi University today. He said any ideology can flourish by debate and discussion alone. Mr. Shah lauded the national education policy, saying it is the first such education policy that has not been opposed by anyone and welcomed by all. Mr. Shah highlighted several achievements of the Narendra Modi government, saying India has become the third largest startup ecosystem in the world today. He said India did not have its own defense policy before 2014, and even if it existed, it was under the shadow of the foreign policy. He asserted that by carrying out surgical and air strikes, India showed the meaning of defense policy. The Home Minister said India wants good relations with every country, but it will not compromise with its borders. Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandaviya today said India turned crisis into an opportunity to augment tuberculosis elimination activities by launching new initiatives like bi-directional testing of TB with covered use of artificial intelligence and digital tools. He was addressing the 35th board meeting of the Stop TB Partnership through video conference. The minister informed that a new initiative, Adopt People with TB, will be launched this year based on the Indian values of collectivism. Dr. Mandaviya announced that starting later this year, the government will introduce a newly approved Made in India TB infection skin test called CTB. He stated that this cost-effective tool will be of immense benefit to the other high-burden countries as well.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today participated in the BRICS Foreign Ministers meeting. He highlighted 8 key points during the meeting. Dr. Jaishankar said we must not only seek socio-economic recovery from the COVID pandemic, but also create resilient and reliable supply chains. He said knock-on effects of the Ukraine conflict have led to sharp increases in the costs of energy, food and commodities, and this must be mitigated for the sake of the developing world. The External Affairs Minister said BRICS has repeatedly affirmed respect for sovereign equality, territorial integrity and international law, and we must live up to these commitments. He said BRICS should unanimously and specifically support UN Security Council reform. Dr. Jaishankar said together we should press for credible commitment of resources by developed nations for climate action and climate justice. He said BRICS must display zero tolerance for terrorism, especially cross-border terrorism. The External Affairs Ministry today said India has continued to provide humanitarian assistance to Afghanistan, particularly supplies of wheat, medicines and vaccines. Replying to a query on reopening of the Indian Embassy in Kabul, Ministry spokesman Arindam Bagchi said,
following the sharp deterioration in security situation in Kabul in August last year, we had to relocate all India-based personnel out of Afghanistan. Given our historical ties with the Afghan people, we have continued to provide humanitarian assistance, particularly supplies of wheat, medicines and vaccines. As regards a specific query about reopening of embassy, if there is any update, we will certainly share it with you.
On food security, the spokesman said there has been an unjustified hike in the food prices. He said India is committed to ensuring that such adverse impact on food security is effectively mitigated and the vulnerable are cushioned against such changes. He pointed out that India announced some measures regarding wheat export on the 13th of May, which allow export on the basis of approvals to those countries who need it to meet their food security demands. He said this policy will ensure that India truly responds to those who are in need. Mr. Bagchi said it is necessary to adequately appreciate the importance of equity, affordability and accessibility of food grains. He said India has always been supportive and helped its partners in distress even during COVID. He said India's measures on wheat exports should be seen from that context. Replying to a query on U.S. Special Envoy Uzra Zea's visit, Mr. Bagchi said she met senior officials of the Indian government.
Prime Minister will have a bilateral meeting with the US President on 24th May. The meeting will mark a continuation of the regular dialogue, having interacted most recently in virtual mode on 11th of April this year. The two leaders are expected to review the India-US strategic partnership and follow up on discussions held during Prime Minister's bilateral meeting with President Biden last September. They will also exchange views on regional and global developments of shared interest.
On reports of another Chinese bridge at Pangong Lake, the spokesman said the situation is being monitored and talks are on with the Chinese side.
Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari has said that the Amritsar-Jamnagar Greenfield Corridor is being constructed in full capacity. This corridor is one of the most important greenfield corridors being developed by the National Highways Authority of India. He said the complete corridor is targeted to be completed by September next year. In a series of tweets, Mr. Gadkari informed that Bikaner to Jodhpur section of 277 kilometers is targeted to be completed and open to public by the end of this year. Minister of State for Science and Technology Dr. Jute today said that the leather industry in India will aim at net zero carbon footprint to meet the environmental norms. He was speaking at the Platinum Jubilee celebrations of the Central Leather Research Institute, a research center under the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research in Chennai. He said the new vision for the leather sector for the next 25 years would be on sustainability, total recyclability, income parity for workers and brand building. The centre has decided to lift the price capping of raw jute with effect from tomorrow. The price cap of 6,500 rupees per quintal for TD5 grade of raw jute was fixed from the 30th of September last year on purchase of raw jute by the jute mills and other end users. The decision was taken after careful examination of the market dynamics of the raw jute trade.
The Supreme Court today sentenced former Punjab Congress President Navjot Singh Sidhu to 1 year rigorous imprisonment in a 1988 road rage case in which Patiala resident Gurnam Singh had died. However, a bench of Justice A.M. Khanvilkar and Justice S.K. Kaul rejected the plea for imposing culpable homicide amounting to murder under Section 304A of the Indian Penal Code. Mr. Sidhu will be taken into custody by Punjab police as per the order. Sidhu was earlier let off with a fine of 1,000 rupees. Now the maximum possible punishment under Section 323 of the IPC has been awarded to him. In Mathura, the District and Sessions Court today allowed a plea by the Sri Krishna Janmabhoomi Trust and other private parties seeking ownership of the land in which the Shahi Eidgah Mosque is built. The discussion with respect to acceptance of the plea was going on since the last 1.5 years. Former Punjab Congress Chief Sunil Jakhar today joined the BJP. He was inducted into the party in the presence of BJP President J.P. Nadda in New Delhi, welcoming him in the party. Mr. Nadda said Mr. Jakhar is an experienced political leader who has made a name for himself during his political career, and he will play a big role in strengthening the BJP in Punjab. Speaking on the occasion, Mr. Jakhar said he had broken the 50-year-old ties with the Congress over issues of nationalism, unity and brotherhood in Punjab.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to participate in Quad Leaders Summit in Tokyo on the 24th of this month, to also engage in bilateral meetings with Quad leaders. India is the new hope of world amidst global turmoil, says Prime Minister at Yuva Shivir, organized by Sri Swaminarayan Temple in Vadodara. Union Home Minister Amit Shah addresses international seminar organized by the Delhi University, says universities should not become battlegrounds for ideological conflicts. Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandaviya says India turned crisis into an opportunity to augment tuberculosis elimination activities by launching new initiatives. Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur stresses on India's ability to become content hub of the world and preferred destination for post-production hub of films. Supreme Court sentences former Punjab Congress President Navjot Singh Sidhu to 1 year rigorous imprisonment in 1988 road rage case. In Mathura, District and Sessions Court allows plea by Sri Krishna Janmabhoomi Trust and other private parties to seek ownership of Shahi Idgah Mosque land. Former Punjab Congress Chief Sunil Jakhar joins the BJP. Incessant rain continues in Arunachal Pradesh, putting normal life out of gear across the state. In hockey, India Sub-Junior Women's National Championship, Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, Jharkhand and Uttar Pradesh enter into semi-finals in Imphal. And in IPL cricket, Gujarat Titans were 109 for 3 in 14 overs against Royal Challengers Bangalore at Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai when reports last came in. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
कंपटीशन की अगर आप कर रहे हैं तैयारी तो उनके लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो पर हम लाए हैं अभ्यास, एक ऐसा कार्यक्रम जिसमें आप पूछेंगे सवाल व्हाट्सएप नंबर 9289094044 पर या फिर ईमेल करेंगे abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर और हमारे विशेषज्ञ देंगे इसका जवाब। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
अपने बिजनेस को बढ़ाने के लिए लीजिए आकाशवाणी का सहयोग और दीजिए उसे बुलंदियों के पंख।
आपका बिजनेस लोकल है या राष्ट्रीय, आकाशवाणी देती है उपभोक्ताओं तक पहुंचने का हर विकल्प।
और अब तो आप घर, दफ्तर या दुकान पर बैठे बैठे कर सकते हैं आकाशवाणी के किसी भी केंद्र के लिए विज्ञापनों की बुकिंग।
आकाशवाणी के विभिन्न चैनलों पर विज्ञापन देना सुलभ और सस्ता।
बुकिंग है तो संपर्क करें 8700014242 पर
8700014242।
Welcome back to the evening news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate the meeting of national office bearers of the Bharatiya Janata Party to be held in Jaipur tomorrow through video conferencing. He will also address the party delegates on this occasion. Party President J.P. Nadda reached Jaipur this evening for the meeting. Apart from Mr. Nadda, many other representatives have also reached the state capital. It will be followed by a meeting of state organization secretaries of all the states on Saturday. Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur has stressed on India's ability to become the content hub of the world and preferred destination for post-production hub of films. He said the government policies are aimed at boosting India's media and entertainment ecosystem, which is expected to generate $53 billion annually. Speaking during the India Forum on India, the content hub of the world, Mr. Thakur said Indian cinema has been entertaining not only Indians but global viewers also.
The celebration of India at Cannes and the recognition of our cinematic excellence the world over is set to manifest the country into the content hub of the world. Today, the flavor, the choice and narrative has shifted from the Eden in the west and settled in the east. India's journey has been beautifully captured and narrated through cinema. Indian cinema has played a crucial role and portrayed our fight for independence, be it through turbulent times and in our triumphs. Today, the media and entertainment sector in India is a significant contributor not only to the creative economy but also for projecting India's soft power abroad.
Mr. Thakur said the government has taken several initiatives in the last 8 years to boost co-production and film shoots in the country. The government has set up the animation, visual effects, gaming and comic task force comprising industry leaders to prepare a policy roadmap for India to take up a quantum leap in this sector, he added. He said steps have been taken to preserve the cinematic heritage of the country through digitization. He said there is a huge potential in the OTT market and the country is expected to grow at 21% annually in this sector. Fssai has launched Food Safety Connect app for food business operators and consumers. Download this app from Google Play Store and easily apply for Fssai registration. Consumers can use this app to register food-related complaints.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, Pulwama District Magistrate Bashirul Haq Chaudhry said today the administration is primarily focusing on incorporating suggestions of the youth in its development plan from next year. In an exclusive interview with AIR News, he said the aim is that their ideas and aspirations get adequately reflected in Vision India at 2047, which is a blueprint for making the country one of the world's top 3 economies and bring India closer to developed nation status by the 100th year of independence.
प्राइम मिनिस्टर का विजन है कि इंडिया जो है वो 2047 में कैसा होना चाहिए, तो उस यूथ के विजन को हम इस प्लान के अंदर 2023 से स्टार्ट करेंगे कि आने वाले 20 सालों में जो यूथ का विजन है वो भी कंप्लीट हो, जिससे यूथ की ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट और ओवरऑल जो सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट है वो हो, चाहे वो हेल्थ के फील्ड में हो, चाहे एजुकेशन के फील्ड में हो, चाहे स्पोर्ट्स के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में हो, चाहे इलेक्ट्रिसिटी में हो, चाहे सॉलिड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट में हो, चाहे ग्रे वाटर एरिया ट्रीटमेंट में हो.
In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the top brass of Army, Police and Intelligence agencies today reviewed the security situation ahead of Mashal Yatra and Sri Amarnath pilgrimage. Our correspondent reports that a security review meeting was chaired today by General Officer Commanding-in-Chief of White Knight Corps, Lieutenant General Manjinder Singh at Nagarota in Jammu, which was attended by Additional Director General of Police, Jammu Zone Mukesh Singh, and senior officials of various intelligence agencies in the region.
Sikkim Minister for Power and Labour M.N. Sherpa expressed satisfaction on the increasing number of entrepreneurs coming up from different parts of Sikkim with different products to become self-employed and self-reliant. While inaugurating the Sikkim Organic Food Summit SOFS today, Mr. Sherpa said the state government has been supporting the youth with startup and other schemes to promote entrepreneurship. The SOFS was organized by the State Commerce and Industries Department and supported by the Union Ministry of Food Processing Industries in Gangtok. On the occasion, Mr. Sherpa also inaugurated a food fair cum exhibition of products marketed by self-help groups and interacted with entrepreneurs from across the state. Renowned lyricist, veteran journalist and language movement activist of Bangladesh, Abdul Ghaffar Chaudhry, passed away at the age of 88 in London. Chaudhry was the lyricist of the soul-stirring song Amar Bhair Rokte Rongano 21 February, Ami Ki Bhulite Pari, meaning can we ever forget the 21st February stained with the blood of our brothers.
All India Radio News has crossed yet another milestone in social media. Its Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts has achieved 3 million followers on the social media platform. In hockey, India Sub-Junior Women's National Championships, which is going on in Imphal, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh and Jharkhand have entered into the semi-finals round this evening. In the first quarter-final match, Haryana beat Mizoram 4-1, while Uttar Pradesh defeated Chandigarh 5-0 in the second quarter-final. Madhya Pradesh beat Maharashtra 2-1 in the third quarter-final, while Jharkhand registered a thumping 4-1 victory over Punjab in the fourth and the last quarter-final clash. In IPL cricket, Gujarat Titans were 121 for 3 in 15.4 overs against Royal Challengers Bangalore at Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai when reports last came in. Earlier, Gujarat Titans won the toss and elected to bat.
The Sensex and the Nifty today witnessed losses of more than 2.5%. Both indices fell amid negative cues from global share markets. A report from the business desk.
The Sensex plunged 1,416 points or 2.61% to finish at 52,792, while the Nifty declined 431 points or 2.65% to settle at 15,809. At the forex market, the rupee weakened 14 paise against the US dollar. The domestic currency was closed at 77 rupees and 73 paise against the American unit. Gold prices added 230 rupees at multi-commodity exchange for June contracts. The precious metal was trading at 50,450 rupees per 10 grams. And oil prices fell more than 1.5%. In intraday trade, Brent crude was trading at around $107.30 per barrel. Rajesh Lake, AIR News.
The India Meteorological Department has said that advancement of southwest monsoon into some more parts of South and Central Bay of Bengal and some parts of South Arabian Sea is likely during the next 2 days. There will be a wet spell over northwest India during 22nd to 24th of this month. Most parts of Kerala experienced respite from rain since this afternoon after reeling under hours of continuous downpour last night. However, an overcast sky prevailed in most places. The Met Department said isolated heavy to very heavy rain is likely in the districts of Ernakulam, Thrissur and Malappuram districts tomorrow, where an orange alert has been issued.
In flood-hit Assam, a 20-member team of the National Disaster Response Force has been deployed to Dima Hasao district to carry out search and rescue operations. Official sources said that essential food items have been airdropped in worst-affected Barak Valley and Dima Hasao district. 2 CM ministers, Parimal Sukhbadya and Ashok Singhal, are camping at Barak Valley to monitor the situation. Chief Minister Pema Khandu today convened a meeting on monsoon preparedness with all concerned departments, including the State Disaster Response Force and National Disaster Response Force in Itanagar. Mr. Khandu stressed on a robust advance warning system so that people can be warned in advance and loss of lives avoided.
Now let us have a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is likely to have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder, lightning. The temperature will hover between 29 and 42 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky. Temperature will hover between 28 and 34 degrees Celsius. Chennai is likely to have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Temperature will hover between 28 and 35 degrees Celsius. Kolkata is expected to have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder and lightning. The minimum temperature will be around 29 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be 35 degrees. Srinagar is expected to have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Temperature is likely to hover between 14 and 26 degrees. Jammu will have a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Minimum temperature will be around 25, maximum of around 39. Leh and Gilgit will have a generally cloudy sky. Muzaffarabad will have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Visakhapatnam, Hyderabad, Thiruvananthapuram and Bengaluru will have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers or dust storm. Guwahati, Impal, Shillong, Aizawl, Agartala and Kohima are expected to have generally cloudy sky with a few spells of rain or thunder showers. Itanagar will have a generally cloudy sky with intermittent rainfall. Gangtok is expected to have a generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. India's COVID vaccination coverage has crossed 191 crore 91 lakhs today. More than 13 lakh vaccine doses were administered during the day. The Union Health Ministry said more than 4 crore 57 lakh vaccine doses have been administered to children belonging to the age group of 12 to 14 years so far. Over 3 crore 18 lakh precautionary doses have been administered to the identified categories of beneficiaries, including healthcare workers, frontline workers and people above 18 years of age. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to participate in Quad Leaders Summit in Tokyo on the 24th of this month, to also engage in bilateral meetings with Quad leaders. India is the new hope of the world amidst global turmoil, says Prime Minister at Yuva Shivir organized by Sri Swaminarayan Temple in Vadodara. Union Home Minister Amit Shah addresses international seminar organized by Delhi University, says universities should not become battlegrounds for ideological conflicts. Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia says India turned crisis into opportunity to augment tuberculosis elimination activities by launching new initiatives. Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Thakur stresses on India's ability to become content hub of the world and preferred destination for post-production hub of films. Supreme Court sentences former Punjab Congress President Navjot Singh Sidhu to 1-year rigorous imprisonment in 1988 road rage case. In Mathura, District and Sessions Court allows plea by Sri Krishna Janmabhoomi Trust and other private parties to seek ownership of Shahi Eidgah Mosque land. Former Punjab Congress chief Sunil Jakhar joins BJP. Incessant rain continues in Arunachal Pradesh, putting normal life out of gear across the state. In hockey, India's sub-junior women's national championship, Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh enter semi-finals in Imphal. And in IPL cricket, Gujarat Titans were 122 for 3 in 16 overs against Royal Challengers Bangalore at Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai when reports last came in. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.